So, Chapter 208 of Fortnite: The Apocalypse gave us the start of the Lancelot and Bond training arc, and I am excited, as many of you also are based off the reception of the comments. And so, Lancelot learning Bond's basically signature skill, Zero Sign, is definitely going to be something that's going to come in handy with him for a long time once he masters it. Because since we all know now that there is a literal lookout for Lancelot for whenever he shows up in Camelot, since his magic power is so immense that he can't hide it or conceal it enough, Zero Sign is the best option. As we saw in 208, even Bond was able to make it seem like he disappeared by initiating Zero Sign, since it basically made it so that he seemingly doesn't exist in the very area, and that to the point where Lancelot can't even see him rather than sense him also. So Lancelot having this power is going to be incredible to use in the future aspects of the story, especially when it comes to sneaking into Camelot, whether it be for information gathering, or as many have been pointing out, maybe to see and rescue Guinevere. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. Before we do, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And yes, if you're getting this far into the video without clicking off, I guess, I'm bringing back the face cam for the in-between chapter discussions, because while I do want to do like the comment videos that I used to do for a couple of chapters, and then some other stuff post chapters, I feel like these videos are going to be a bit more natural for my post thoughts on the chapters. That way I can talk about them going forward. Then I think this will be a bit more personable, and also I can at least get some basic thoughts out of the way between chapters so we can keep discussing the chapters in between. I was originally going to make this a full-on theory video, but eventually I realized next chapter will probably dismiss me, and I probably won't have enough time to get that video out in that case, so I just decided, you know what, let's just do a discussion, get some thoughts out there, and then we'll continue on from there. Because I like these type of videos just to get my thoughts out, and I like to hear what you guys say in between the chapters, as well as what you think of my personal thoughts and stuff. So, yeah, I want to make a bit more personal videos for this, maybe Fairy Tail 2, but I'm keeping it to 4 Nights because I've been doing more Fairy Tail additional content than 4 Nights content, and I feel like that's kind of unfair to the portion of the audience that is here for the 4 Nights The Apocalypse / 7 Daily Sins videos. So I feel like for this, we can at least just make it a sit down and talk about stuff that's going to happen in the story, and see what could happen in the future. But don't worry, I'm going to have some theory videos that most likely, and I hope to God, aren't destroyed through time with recent chapters to reveal stuff. So hopefully, the next video I have planned, and I'm going to be recording shortly after this one and planning out, is a video about Arthur and why he's evil. Mainly because there's some stuff that I didn't notice in chapters 205 and 206 that, well, was so obvious that I can't believe I completely missed it until after I put the video live, and I'm like, oh, that is so obviously there. I don't know how I could have said nothing about it, and people in the comments have been pointing it out. I'm not going to say where it is in case no one saw the comments and in case no one else knows what I'm talking about. That's going to be a video in and of itself about Arthur. Anyway, this long introduction out of the way, let's talk about Zero Sign and what this could do for Lancelot. So as we all know, Lancelot's going to go into Camelot after this training arc to basically get more intelligence on Camelot. Probably to see more of what's going on with the, well, chaosified Four Perils. And I would think it'd be interesting if the Four Perils would get stronger through more chaosification and more power of chaos placed within them, completely erasing their memories seemingly based off what we saw a couple of chapters ago when their memories were being poked and prodded at through the loved ones of the Four Perils being around and poking at their memories with the contradictions of information. And so I want to see if the Four Perils are back to normal for a bit, or if their memories are completely overridden so that they could end up continuously to be Arthur's whole, well, loyal knights and just, well, weapons of mass destruction for him, essentially. But we all know what Zero Sign is going to end up inevitably before, and that's Guinevere. Because we only saw Guinevere once post-time skip, and that was literally the very first chapter after she woke up from that future vision where Arthur and the Four Perils invade, destroy Leonis. Arthur faces off against the Sins, and then all of a sudden a big smoke cloud happens post a massive explosion, and seemingly Bond is dead with somebody with a spear towering over him in the shadows. Many people think that's Lancelot. That is a strong possibility for something that's going to happen in the future, but we'll see where that goes. Needless to say, we haven't seen Guinevere in a long time, and the most recent thing we saw about Guinevere, she wasn't even in an actual chapter. She was in the cover image for chapter 205, the color spread with Lancelot. And so that got all of us thinking, oh, did Lancelot go in to see Guinevere over the past couple of years in this instance? But now that I think about it, and from what this chapter has pointed out, with Lancelot's insane magic power literally being a beacon to basically just be like, hi, I'm Lancelot. I'm right here. I'm sneaking in. And the fact that they have a network in all corners and they have to keep looking out for Lancelot and being careful of him, it shows he probably hasn't seen Guinevere, at all. And since the start of the time skip, it's clear to see that she has not had a visit from Lancelot whatsoever in the past 2 years. Most likely because she's heavily guarded, and Lancelot, like he stated, thanks to Bond, he has way too much magic power to go completely unnoticed. But, and this is why I think Zero Sign is a good thing, Lancelot was told a prophecy by Guinevere that in 2 years' time, he would visit her in the tower. And where is she right now? In the tower. So Lancelot learning Zero Sign will basically be him invading Camelot to check up on Guinevere and potentially save her, rescue her, and bring her back to Leonis, or maybe Benwick. Which could set up for a potential fall of Benwick. Why do I believe this? Well, while we all know that Guinevere had that future vision of the Sins basically facing Arthur and destroyed Leonis, what if, due to the fact that, Percival died previously 2 years ago, what if Guinevere's visions have slowly been shifting the course of the future through Arthur and even Lancelot and Percival's actions to change things slightly for the outcomes to be different. Because Guinevere said he visited her in the tower. She never said that he rescued her from the tower. I could be grasping at straws here with that aspect, but it's the wording that is very specific, and when it comes to any form of writing, and I do think Nakaba has improved on his writing and foreshadowing for the most part in Four Knights of the Apocalypse, the wording matters. He saw her, he didn't rescue her in that aspect. Perhaps the events of the original vision were different, and Lancelot never learned Zero Sign at least this early. So perhaps, now that he knows Zero Sign, he can erase his presence, and by extension most likely, Guinevere's presence, in order to escape Camelot as quickly as possible. But if he does that after a couple of chapters of, meet the parents and all that stuff with Bond and Layton and meeting Guinevere and all that stuff, and Lancelot and Guinevere having some time to discuss stuff and catch up and all that stuff and whatever, this could lead to something in Arthurian legend that I have heard about, and I need to find time to do real full research on, so anyone that knows more on Arthurian legend than I do, please let me know in the comments of any mistakes. But I believe something occurs in Arthurian legend where Lancelot's actions end up with the destruction of his home kingdom of Benwick. So perhaps this could lead into either an addition to Guinevere's vision of the Sins fighting Arthur in Leonis, or a shift from Leonis being destroyed to Benwick being destroyed, and that being seemingly the end of Bond. Because if the aspect of Arthurian legend that I at least know a bit about, based off of me knowing a friend that actually knows a bit about Arthurian legend, this could be Lancelot bringing chaos to his doorstep. If he takes Guinevere away from Camelot and brings her to Benwick, Arthur will probably send the Chaosified Four Perils over to Camelot. Or maybe Arthur himself will show up alongside them to attack Benwick. And Benwick only really has Bond as defense. Elaine is strong, but I don't think she's on that level to really fight against the Four Perils with Bond. Bond would have to basically do a lot of the work himself, and this would only happen if Lancelot was not in Kingdom. Lancelot would have to do his own stuff, perhaps in a pre-planned assault with the Four Knights to go to Camelot, but Arthur planned this and had the Four Perils and himself go to Benwick, attack Bond, grab Guinevere, potentially kill or capture Bond, and then go off to Leonis to finish off Meliodas with his forces. That could be something that could happen. Or, legitimately, like I said, instead of Leonis being destroyed in that future vision, it's just Benwick, and Bond comes to see his dead parents and citizens, all because he brought Guinevere to their doorstep in order to rescue her. That could be something that could happen in the future. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that would be a very big and tragic thing, And it could take away the whole, potential of Lancelot being the one to stab his own father in the back, because it still feels very out of character for Lancelot to do, especially with this most recent chapter. So, I think this could be a big change in Guinevere's vision of the future. Causing a chain reaction that could end up leading to a prolonged and, honestly, possibly more tragic endpoint based off of this very important and drastic decision that Lancelot will make to save Guinevere from the tower. But that's just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below on what you think is going to happen in the future of the story. And if you like this type of video going forward just for a bit of a discussion, or if you'd like me to try and do like live stream discussions between chapters so that you can interact with me more directly, I want to figure that out to see if we can end up doing that. But for now, I want to try and do more of this, and I'll probably try and like edit these to be like more presentable. For right now, just me talking to you guys more directly. So yeah, let me know what you think, and I hope you all have an awesome day.